Welcome to the Los Angeles Tribune page. Here you will find original news programming, exclusive digital events, and shows that are directly from the community. At the Los Angeles Tribune, we believe in giving a voice to the voiceless. We are proud to be the only national brand to empower everyday people to make a difference. Since 1886, our reputation has been built on truth and responsibility. Thank you for watching and making a difference.
For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.
President of the Los Angeles Tribune. It's exciting to be here. We have a tremendous audience out there, which you really can't see at the moment. But, let's let them know we're there. Give them a thunderous round of applause. For myself and Mr. Mo Rock, our CEO, we're so excited to have everybody here. It's going to be a great night. It's education, entertainment. It's podcasters, authors, speakers, actors, comedians, basketball players. Everybody's here tonight. And the greatest thing is it's for you. Wherever you are in the world watching this, there we go. Wherever you are in the world watching this, if you have any questions, we'll let you know more. We're also going to be launching several academies. We'll talk about that later. We're going to be launching the Marketing Journal. We already have the Women's Journal, the Vietnam Journal, the Los Angeles Tribune. We have journals. Everybody got that? Because it's about bringing an audience in, and that makes a difference every day. My co-host for the evening, we'll have you grab a microphone. My co-host for the evening, this gentleman has been in front of, and I haven't done this, right? This gentleman has been in front of 6 million people. Give that a round of applause. Mr. Joseph McClendon is one of the most brilliant people I've ever known, from the front of the stage, from the back of the stage, working with people, moving them through. He's taught at UCLA. You've done everything. I could go on and on and on, right? So first of all, let's give a thunderous round again for Mr. Joseph McClendon. Thank you very much. Thank you. Awesome. And we're going to really be doing this tonight, and I'll bring up our first person, and everybody out there, just comment, because we're live. Last time we did our show, we got 2,700 comments. So comment, ask questions. We'll get to it at another time. If you want a date, that's a different story. That's our other show. And we have a lot of fun doing it. So you ready for a good night, Joseph?
Absolutely. Can I tell them something?
Please do. That's what I was going to do.
So everybody here, first off, thank you for the gift of one of your most precious gifts that you can give, and that is the gift of your trust and your time. So give yourselves a hand, if you will. And the reason I say that is whatever brought you here in this room or on the cameras watching us on a screen or whatever brought you here is for a reason. And everybody that you're going to meet that's going to contribute today is, like you said, is of service. And it's been my experience through life that it could be one word, it could be just a story or something that changes your life. And our outcome is to help you take that in so that you don't just get it for yourself and you do something to help your life, your trajectory go further, but you share it with other people as well and make a difference in other people. Are we good with that?
Yes. Give Joseph a thunderous round of applause. Thank you. I'll see you later. All right. Yeah, that was good. Also, just quickly, I just want to let you know that we have other members of the Tribune here, and I just lost Parisa. There she is. Everybody, give Parisa Rose a thunderous round of applause, our CEO back there. Awesome. Yeah, is that good? And Alicia is the red carpet extraordinaire. Like, all of you saw Alicia already, but give Alicia a thunderous round of applause. She does so much for us. We could be here a long time. Also, where'd Jeff go? Did I lose Jeff? Jeff is really our ambassador for Australia. He actually just came here from Tasmania. So everybody, there's Jeff right there. Give him a thunder of applause. He's got his hand up. Okay, good. And this is where you always miss somebody, and they're like, "My God, you didn't introduce me." So we'll get to the rest later. Okay, exactly. That way, if you miss anybody, it's good. So without any further ado, this gentleman is not just a basketball player, but it's about changing lives. It's about a foundation. It's about being with the Harlem Globetrotters. Were you their first left-handed? Is it? Wow, first. Wow, look at that. You're just amazing. And but the biggest thing is I've had him up here several times. And I have to say that every time I brought Mr. Harold Lefty Williams to this stage, he has changed a life. He has made a difference, but he's always been of service. He never makes it about him. It's how can I make a difference in other people's lives? So let's bring up Mr. Harold Lefty Williams. Now we're going to cause trouble.
Yeah, okay.
It's good. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm Harold Lefty Williams, a former member of the world famous Harlem Globetrotters.
I'm going to have you move on.
Have me suit. Get it framed. Cool.
There you go.
There we go. Center stage. I like it. And what can I say? I'm just a dreamer. I had to dream while living a nightmare. And so I live by the phrase dare to dream. And I'm excited about everything that we're doing. I'm happy that each and every one of you were able to take the time to spend with us tonight. And I'm excited about a lot of things. So I don't know which way where you want to go.
That was good. I know we've had several conversations, right? We talk once in a while. It's really about talk a little bit about your podcast. You have a podcast launching. You've had some major hitters on it, but it's also about the journey to get to that podcast.
Well, thank you. So first of all, I'm super duper excited about the podcast. Is called The Art of Rebounding. And while I am a former professional athlete, it's not about sports. Yes, we do talk about sports, but it's not about sports. It's about bouncing back. It's about believing in yourself. It's about moving yourself out the way. It's about understanding the weight of the weight. Things take time, but eventually nothing is in limbo. Things are in motion and you can't stand still. You have to box out all the opposition, move everything out of the way, get out of our own head. All of life takes place in between your two ears and go after the thing that's actually in motion on its way to you.
Give that a round of applause. Okay. It's the thing that, and in your life, we talk about this a lot, and in sports and in business and in podcasting, and when you write a book, it's never, you sort of know where you're going, but it's not a straight line. Talk about that.
It's not a straight line. And a lot of times, if you want to see the God sense of humor, make a plan, and then you'll see, oh, I thought I was going to do this, but then it turned out to be that. I wrote a book 7 years ago, put it on the shelf to push my children. And then I thought that the book would come and then the podcast came first. Right. So it's just we got 9 episodes in. We're launching in the fall and I'm excited.
It's great to you be because you're part of our family now. I mean, the one thing about the Tribune that I like, and the reason that I'm here is because it's very family oriented. Family means everything. And we're very much about positive media. We don't cover anything else. We don't go any other direction. And you're very much part of that. And that's been a great part of really the family of what we're creating. When you played, right, for the Globetrotters, this question does come up, and I've seen it before they always want to know how many countries and how many people you spoke in front of.
So, man, I don't even know the number of how many people I spoke in front of, but I've been to all 50 states. I've been to 35 countries, and I've met prime ministers. I've been to 8 provinces of Canada. Yeah, I don't even know how many people man.
Well, here's the other question. In any one room, how many people were in there that you spoke to?
20,000.
Yeah, that's a pretty good number. Yeah, raving fans, I guess. Yeah, they were there for a reason.
Yeah,
that was good. And also, when you played as a team, because teamwork is everything. That's what this is all about. What was one of the biggest lessons you got from that?
One of the biggest lessons that I learned is to expect the unexpected. And I'll give you an example of that. So at the start of the game, there's something called the Magic Circle. And in the Magic Circle, if you ever been to a Globetrotter game, it's magic. You see all these amazing tricks and things that's going on. Well, I guarantee you, if you ever seen a show, you would not have seen anyone mess up in a magic circle because that just doesn't happen. And so there was a time when I realized and thought that I was, extremely ready. And then the lights go on, and then there's the smoke, and then there's the, and then it's time to really lock in and get it done. So it takes a little extra bit of focus to be ready to do that.
Awesome. Thank you. And has there ever been a time, because this is also, people always go through ups and downs. Sometimes they quit, right? Because they're afraid. It's always, we have this thing of fear of failure, but just remember, failure is you just learn. Every time you do a failure, there's another learning around it. But was there ever a time where you weren't shooting as well as you thought? It wasn't going as well as you thought. How'd you get yourself through that?
I mean, in my mind, when it comes to trick shots, if you go 1 for 5, you're doing great. Right. My rule of thumb is if I shoot a hook shot and it's not an air ball, when I hit the rim, I'm gonna shoot another one. Right. If I shoot a hook shot and I hit an air ball, I'm probably not gonna do it again until the game. Right. But if I'm in warm-ups and I'm warming up and the crowd is watching, if I do one and it hit the rim, all right, let me feel it again. Let me see, can I get it? Because so a lot of times in life we get the ooh, ah, right? So the eyes, it went in, but the ooh, oh, it was a miss. I'm okay with that as long as I don't have to make the shot. That's what I want everybody to understand. You don't have to make the shot. I just got to make you believe I can make it. So as long as I don't airball, oh, go ahead. Yeah, after that, right. So as long as I don't airball, right, I made you believe that that could have went in. So
yeah. I don't even know what to say to that. That was really good. This is because we have a conversation. There's no rehearse, by the way. Questions. We don't write anything out. But that was really we got that on film and tape, everybody. Okay. The other thing too is now back to the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So when the podcast didn't start exactly when you wanted it to start, but then you went into motion and started lining people up. What changed?
It was go. So obviously I'm part of the NBA alumni. We had summer league in Vegas, and then you start seeing everybody. So it's a brotherhood. So no one's gonna say no. It's about the time. So I'm with Tim Hardaway, Sean Marion, with everybody, and then I'm just like, yo, we need to get this going. And then, so we just got a new CEO, former NBA All-Star Antonio Davis, and I'm like, bro, it'd be great if you come on and do the podcast. He was like, yeah, bet. What time you on it? Okay, cool. Boom. And then and I left. And in 2 days, I got 9 episodes in.
Give that a round of applause. That's just not good. And it's great because I know the podcast is going to go a couple different directions.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the learning that people are going to get from it. And you're excited by it. That's the other thing, because within the podcast industry and what's going on, people quit. They quit all the time. They had 21 shows, they're bored, they're done. What's going to keep you going?
For me, what was once my cylinder on my children's floor, and I want my children to be proud of what I'm doing. I want them to look at me and see somebody who just didn't give up, someone who continued to reinvent himself. And so when you're doing something like this, it can't be something that you want to do. It has to be something that you're called to. And I'm called to this. And so when you have a good circle and a good network, you're able to continue to keep doing. And for me, it's really therapeutic to see that other people have been through the same journey that you're on, but they just didn't quit. And you're really a part of the 1%. And everybody's not the athlete, someone's the CEO, someone's, a doctor, someone's a regular average Joe who's going to be on my show that has a story. Everyone has a story to talk about on how they rebound. I just want to inspire people. So I think that'll just keep me going.
Yeah, that's great. Give that a round of applause. So, by the way, because the other question that came up was they were asking me. You just go to the LosAngelesTribune.com, just click on podcast. Easy, simple. That will take you to the page. You're going to see this man there. It's going to be really exciting to have you there.
Yeah.
And we have some other great podcasts. We have Miss Joseph McClendon. We have Malcolm Jamal Warner. And we could just go on and on. But we have people who you don't know who they are, but they have great stories and messages. It's about the story. Tell us about the story.
I mean, the whole story, for my story, my whole story, I come from brokenness. Like a lot of people have been broken. I like I said, I had to dream while living a nightmare. I really hate really talking about this part of it, but I have to, because there was restoration in it, and I have to appreciate and be grateful for the restoration. I was mentally and physically abused by the hands of my father. My father was an alcoholic. He was addicted to heroin. The bottom line is he just made poor choices. But when I got a chance to understand who he was and how his dad passed away when he was 16, and pressure was put on his shoulder to be, the family guy and this, that, and the third. I got a chance to understand who he was, and there was something in my mind that came to my spirit and said, the mission of restoration is far more important than being right. You want to be right, or you want restoration? And I wanted restoration. So it took time, me and him going back and forth with things. Ultimately, we got that restoration, and I'm glad we did. And I had 7 years of restoration, and then he passed away. And then he left instructions for me, and I eulogized him. It was the hardest thing that I've ever did in my life, but I was able to do that, and I'm happy. And he wasn't a great father to me, but I got a chance to see him be the grandfather to my children that I'm like, oh, you know what? Oh, so it was somewhere inside of there. And so that's that.
When you hear that, I'll give that a round of applause.
Yeah.
There is that, and because sometimes and everybody's got a story, so I'm going to be very careful with this, and some people don't have the relationship still, right? And that's broken off. But sometimes there is that redemption piece where you see that other side, or something in them changes, and it's hard for you sometimes because that's not the person I knew, but they're being what they need to be for the next generation. And that's beautiful. So give that a round of applause again. Now, you have a foundation, Teresa and Alicia. You have a foundation, and your foundation makes a lot of difference in this world. Tell us about it.
So it's the Harold F. D. Williams Dare to Dream Foundation. It's a 501c3 foundation. We're partnered with the Knicks. We're partnered with the Clippers. Shout out to Big Bro Allen Houston. And we just it's a characteristic sports development foundation. It's based off of a 6-point thrust system: mind, body, citizenship, education, accountability, and enthusiasm. And those are the pillars in which my wife and I have chose to raise our children, raise our family. And so we just transition what we did at home to what we do, with kids in the community, helping different people. We were honored by the NBA 3 years in a row by way of the G League. Shout out to Steve Brandish. He was also on the podcast. He's president of the Milwaukee Bucks G League team with the Wisconsin Herd. And so shout out to my partner, Scott Paskoff, who's here. And he actually made that introduction for me, which turned into the great 3-year relationship. Wow. Yeah.
Give that a round of applause. So you don't know this, but I'm about to am I bringing up Alicia and Priest? Okay, please, let's give Priest and Alicia a big thunder round of applause. I'm going to turn the mic over to Priest. Come over here. You take this. I'm going to go off stage for a minute. There you go.
Thank you, Michael. Alicia. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today here at Books, Podcasts, and Entertainment at the Los Angeles Tribune. Lefty, you don't know that this is happening, but we at the Los Angeles Tribune have been observing the work that you are doing with your Dare to Dream Foundation. It is really critical to help people understand what is possible, and then to provide them with a framework and structure to have that community support. And that is exactly what you do and your wife do through your foundation, that I know that your whole family is a big advocate of. So on behalf of myself, the Chief Strategy Officer at the Los Angeles Tribune, on behalf of Teresa Rose, the Chief Operating Officer of the Los Angeles Tribune, and on behalf of the CEO of the Los Angeles Tribune, Mo Rock, we are so honored and delighted to present you with the Nonprofit Impact Award for the work that you are doing with the Dare to Dream Foundation. Yes, I think that deserves a round of applause. So this award is in recognition of visionary leadership, fearless creativity, and unwavering commitment to purpose-driven innovation. This award celebrates those who embody the spirit of the Dare to Dream Foundation. Your work not only inspires the next generation of changemakers, creators, and entrepreneurs, but actively builds the pathways for them to rise by boldly challenging the status quo, which we are very big on here at the Los Angeles Tribune, and turning ambition into impact. You exemplify what it means to dream with intention and lead with heart. This honor affirms your role as a catalyst for change and as a living testament to the transformative power of dreaming boldly and daring greatly. So, Lefty, to you, your wife, your family, congratulations.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Yes, please give Lefty a big round of applause. So at the Los Angeles Tribune, we are a media company that is focused on news that is empowering, inspiring, and educational. And we do a lot of work to recognize nonprofits because nonprofit organizations are doing the work for the community. Nonprofit founders and people that are part of nonprofits are really there helping people each and every day, people that are often forgot about or not seen, not heard. Nonprofits there step up. So we just want to say that we honor you and recognize you. And on behalf of our Voices for Change initiative, which is here to bring more visibility to nonprofits, it really is a delight and an honor to recognize you today.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Oh, all right, last round of applause. Let's keep bringing up Michael Sylvan.
Yeah, Mike.
There you go.
There we go.
Okay.
All right, fantastic. So let's give Lefty a big thunderous round of applause. It is how we make a difference every single day. So with that being said, I'm about to turn the show over for the moment to Mr. Give him a round, Joseph McClendon III.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You guys having a good time?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it is my privilege and my honor to introduce you to someone that I just met, quite honestly. I met him in person just a little while ago, but I had seen so much about him before and learned so much about him, and I get to share him with you. And I want to remind everybody that everybody that's here, you just heard from Lefty, and everybody that you're going to hear from has been to the top of the mountain. In other words, that fame and that success and all that stuff. And there are people that have gone there and bringing back something for everybody else. And that's what's so important. And what's so great about this man I'm about to introduce you to, Shabazz, the OG, is that he has methodology to get results. Meaning that if you just know something, so what? We all know stuff. As horrible as this is going to sound, people that want to lose weight and don't, it's not because they don't know how to lose weight. Quit putting so much food in this hole and move your body and you'll lose weight. It's because we don't lose weight or we don't do the things that we know to do because we don't have methodology to change what goes on up here. And that's what this gentleman brings to the stage. So help me welcome to the stage, ladies and gentlemen, Shabazz, the OG. Come on down. And if you would, have a seat, have a seat. If you would share with everybody real quick, and then we'll talk about your methodology and what you do. Share us a little bit about yourself, kind of what you've done, what brought you here, and who you are.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me, the LA Tribune, Lefty Williams, and everybody that's here in attendance. Thanks for having me. But yeah, I started a movement on social media, with trying to help people and encourage people to critically think. Lefty has been one of the one of the people that's been following my platform for a while, and I've been fortunate enough for people to actually interact with me. I'm one of those guys who I answer all my direct messages. I reply to everybody. Like it's like really my part-time / full-time job. So every day I go through my DMs and I respond to everybody.
What makes you, I'm sorry to cut you off, what makes you that way? Because a lot of people don't, especially people that have seen some success. What makes it that you do that?
I've always been an advocate for lack of a better term, the underdog. Like I'm 57. I've been around the world of entertainment and celebrities since I was 17. And I've just always felt like everybody should be included. I don't believe in big eyes and little U's. I don't believe in, this person is better than you or me because they're a celebrity or they have more money. So as I grew in this sector of popularity, outside of other areas where I was popular, the more popular I became here in the social media sector, and I saw how many people gravitated to my message, commented on my page, reshared my posts, and just had a lot of good things to say to me, and then went so far as to ask me my opinion personally. I'm like, what's wrong with, at the very least, hitting that red heart, the like button, just to let that person know that they've been acknowledged. So that's where it was. I just like acknowledging people. Like I tell people, it's my profile picture, but it's our platform.
Give me a hand for that, ladies.
Yeah, that's it.
And you are a huge advocate for something that you call the 3-30
Yes.
Process.
Yes.
Remember, process is everything. Process. If you have something that you can do, then you can produce a result. Share with us a little bit about what that is.
So it's called 3 to 30 seconds. And the motivation behind it is to think before you react, to avoid and evade impulsive reactions and decisions. 3 to 30 seconds can change your life from 3 to 30 years. How many times have we seen people make bad decisions in the heat of the moment and they're sitting behind bars from 3 to 30 years? So I used to be, like, I have a thing that I say, I used to be quick to react, but then I learned to relax because I was impulsive. I didn't like authority. I didn't like people telling me what to do. And whatever I felt in that moment is what you were going to get. That didn't work out. That didn't always work out. So, as my mother told me since I was 7, you're gonna learn everything the hard way because you don't listen. And that's how I learned. So at some point, once I started to see people receive and gravitate to what I say and what I do, now it's not just about popularity. Now it's about responsibility. So if I'm trying to help others correct their lives, as I took the time and effort to correct mine, it has to be something that they can attach to. One, two, primarily, it has to be something that I'm doing myself. So I can't tell you to take 3 to 30 seconds to think, and I'm still impulsive.
Position heal thyself.
So once I was able to apply it in my life, then I started sharing it with the masses and encouraging others. Because again, whether it's you and your spouse, your significant other, a coworker, in the street, wherever you may be, we all are faced with possible conflict from all walks of life. But what you do in that moment, when you're faced with conflict, is going to dictate your possible future.
Beautiful. And I know you work in the prisons. And if you get a chance, check this man out. He's got some videos out that's showing him doing that work. And you're making a difference in people's lives who will never get out.
Yeah.
And they're still gobbling this up.
Oh, I mean, you know what it is? I just the last prison I went to was in no, actually it wasn't. It was United States Penitentiary in Atlanta. There it was the most recent, but the one before that, I did Gadsden County, right outside of Tallahassee, Florida, and I met a young man who was 19, awaiting trial, for homicide, and it's ironic that you say, even though they're in these positions, they still receive and relate to someone who understands the seat that they're in. I've been to prison. I wore the blue two-piece. I wore the orange jumpsuit. I wore the tans. So I know, what they're dealing with. Like the information that I share, I don't get from Google. The information that I share is I know what it's like at night when you're in that fetal position. I know what it's like to cry in the shower. I know what it's like to miss your family, miss your girl, to think, damn, why? Like, why didn't I just do this? Or like, I know that. So when you speak that, and you're speaking from a place where they understand you, they escape for a little while. And your reality becomes theirs. They feel free a little bit because, wow, he's not talking at me. He's talking to me and he relates, he understands. So if he was in this seat, providing the ones who do have a chance to come home, they're the ones who can look at me and others that do what I do and say, you know what, I got a shot. And then the ones who may not be fortunate enough to come home, they still can rewire themselves to say, you know what, this is my new reality. How do I not make this worse?
Still got to live.
Right.
If you would please walk us through, just so everybody know, walk us through the process. Say we're getting ready. Everybody here, if you would, even on camera there, raise your hand if you've ever done something stupid. Wait, I wasn't done. If you've ever done something stupid again. Okay. Yeah. And so the again part is walk us through what, in other words, when something shows up, talk us through this 3 30 process, what you would do in that moment when something comes up.
So the trick is, like I told Alicia earlier on the red carpet, the trick is not to do it in the moment.
Oh, I love this.
The trick is to do it. The trick is to condition and train yourself ahead of time.
Come on.
Yeah, don't try to, as they say, don't try to set home. Like, don't try to set the last minute.
Mhm.
You know, not that it's impossible, but it's something. It takes conditioning. It takes self awareness. It takes again, it takes self discipline. So you have to know that, especially if you know yourself, you know your lifestyle, you know you got a coworker that you don't get along with. You know, you have to condition yourself and almost like role play in the mirror.
Got it. So are you saying, if I may,
Right.
that to, instead of waiting for it to happen,
Right.
practice it ahead of time?
Yeah, don't wait.
Yeah.
Don't wait, because, like, let's just say you hear the message today. You hear it, it makes sense, sounds good, but then you don't apply it. What's going to happen is, if you find yourself in a situation and you react impulsively, I guarantee you, I don't gamble, but I bet $1 to $1. My voice is going to pop up in your head like, damn it, he said,
Yes.
he said, and because, you know, our minds, you know, it's our minds retain information subconsciously, even when we don't mean to. So the key is to practice it. The key is to not wait until that moment. The key is to set yourself up so you know how to breathe. Like true story. Just a few days ago, a lady from Maryland sent me a post. A video of a 10-year-old boy named Aiden. Aiden explained how taking 3 to 30 seconds helped him when one of the other little boys was antagonizing him, chewing ice in his ear, pointing the laser at him. He was continuously asking him to stop. And she said, and what did you do? Aiden said, I took 3 to 30 seconds. I went downstairs, and she said, how did it make you feel after you did it? He said, I felt better because I didn't make a bad decision. That's a 10-year-old.
That's life changing. That's life changing.
It's
And
hilarious.
rehearsing that, practicing it, I call it human physics. Anything that you do over and over again, you'll get better and better at it.
Absolutely.
And it'll show up in a different way.
No, for sure. Absolutely. I agree 1,000,000%. Again, like I said, the key is to, as we say, get in front of it. You know, get in front of it. Like, you don't, you know, Kobe didn't, Mike, Kobe, Allen Iverson, these guys didn't come out the womb to the court.
Exactly.
It's a process.
That's a good.
So it's the same thing with this process.
So how do people find you?
Primarily, I suck at social media. I need a social media person.
That's a cry for help.
Yeah, I'm begging. I wish I could do better. I probably would have a whole lot more money if I knew how to use YouTube the right way and TikTok, but primarily Instagram. Shabazz the OG, ShabazzTheog. I'm on social. I'm on Instagram every single day. Again, other platforms I'm not really that active, so I'm trying to move around. Maybe Lefty can give me some more appearances so people can see me because I'm just.
Now listen to this.
Yeah.
We're here to learn as well.
Right.
We're here to learn from, because I always say everybody has something that they can teach me. Okay, I know what I'm good at, but I'm not as good at whatever you do. And here's a man that's reaching out, that's just saying that if you want to help further, do it yourself first. Practice this. Take this. Take the 30 seconds.
Yeah,
My mother used to always say, if you take this lip and put it together with this lip, you will shut the front door.
Absolutely.
And doors go two ways: what comes out and what comes in.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a great philosophy. And again, the greatest part about it for me, Joseph, is the children.
Absolutely.
Because if you know, I think the study showed that from the age of 2 to 7, by the time the child is 7, their personality and who they're going to be is pretty much formed and shaped. So, speaking about Aiden again at 10 years old and speaking and articulating the 3 to 30 second message the way that he did, able to express the message, express when he had to apply it, express why he had to apply it, and express how he felt after he applied it, was stellar. So if we can get that age group up to adults, just that age group alone changed the trajectory of our future.
The world changes when old men plant trees of which the shade they will never see. I'm not calling you old.
Hey, I'm 57. I say it loud and proud.
So planting those trees. Give them a hand, ladies and gentlemen. So
Thank you.
I guess who am I bringing up next? Lefty. All yours, baby. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Man, wasn't that good? Give him another round of applause. So I'm really excited. Give me 1 second. I'm really excited for this part. It's gonna be good. I promise that. First, we're gonna jump into our panel. We're gonna ask Shabazz OG to come on back up. Give him a hand. These are my bros who are coming up here. Like these are my bros. This guy right here is my guy. Like my guy, right? And y'all don't know what that means, but like when I use the word bro, I don't use that loosely. Like my kids know if I introduce them to someone, like, that's my bro, they can lay their guard down and whatever. So now we're gonna bring up Malik Whitfield. Next, we're gonna bring up my other bro. He's a superstar writer, an actor, a director, everything, right? Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Alan Maldonado. All right, here's my other bro. He's a comedian. He's super duper duper funny. You have to check him out on social media. He's an actor. He's also a podcast host. Give it up for G Wayne. All right. So let's just dive in, and I want us to talk about uh, rebounding because first of all, everybody up here are really successful in their own right, and have done a lot of things, and I'm sure that I'm going to stay on track with this, right, in terms of time. So anybody feel free to jump in, no set order with this first round of questions. So when I think about rebounding, we talked about boxing out. We talked about coming against opposition, all of those things. Share with everyone what was the one thing that you've been through that you had to, in order for you to get here. Like if they were writing your autobiography today, you'd be like, it was this. I got through that. Is why I'm able to stand here today. Anybody can jump in. Anyone's for anyone.
I guess I'll go with I mean, I was hit by a drunk driver at 21, and I was walking. The BMW Roadster was going 65 miles per hour, flew in the air, landed on my face, broke my right leg. I was on the show Young and the Restless at the time. It was my first sort of show out of the hood. I quit my job at Denny's. I was on my way. Boom, it was over. And yeah, no, I guess my testimony to it all is after 3 months of rehab, uh, when the last stitch fell out of my mouth, I booked 3 TV shows in 1 week. So it sort of confirmed that I was going down the right path. And during that time, I was met with so many people telling me I should quit or try something new. And I just started, and this happened. This could be a sign. All the way through that led to that moment where the first time that I had an opportunity to go get work. That has happened only 2 times in my life. So it was confirmation that I was on the right path. So being able to rebound from, life being almost taken away from me is definitely a near and dear to me.
And give them a hand for that. So here's the crazy part about this. Like after being through everything that you've been through, you're one of the most giving people I know. From finances, time, everything, right? This guy has written on survivor's remorse, right? Been on, and I believe you wrote on The Last OG as well, right? The Last OG with Tiffany Haddish and Tracy Morgan. Um, to doing the 1 years with my son EJ on ABC, and to his own show, The Hills on Stars. Like, so when I say like he been through a lot to be here. Like, look, no, I'm here because I didn't give up, and I want to come back to that. Don't let me come back to that. But for time's sake, I want to switch here real quick. Your story is just crazy within itself, bro. You know what I mean? I want you to share what was that moment for that, and then I'm gonna come to G Wayne. But what was that moment?
So mine is really kind of it's like I would say three tiers, right? And the first level was in between hustling the streets as a young man and making a lot of money at a young age. When I say a young age, I do mean at 14, from less than 14, being shot at 14, understanding I was facing potential, like Brad says, to go to jail for 20 years, and having a mentor that was introduced to that in the streets of the Bronx, New York, there were no opportunities to learn acting or what that creative journey might look for. And so my journey of mentorship, even as I teach to this day with students in the arts, I was given these opportunities for a place to escape, a place that became a safe space amongst all of my friends dying in front of me, a lot of friends going away for many, many years. And then having an opportunity to say, what could it even look like if I actually pursued studying? And they put me in the journey for conservatories with Lee Strasberg, and I stayed with Uta Hagen and Herbert Berghoff. And they gave me these opportunities just to mop the floor and do secretarial work where I knew that I would always show up, and it gave me an opportunity to study and train. I say three levels because going into the industry, all I knew is I understood and loved the stage. So a mentor of mine also became the late Gregory Hines. So I knew how I loved wanting to be on the stage, but as I continued on, I had to learn what was the business. And so understanding the business and just what success can look like, and also being on a show such as One Life to Live early on in the early 90s, going from that perspective to what would it look like to have a hit movie, and doing that with the studios, Gene Hackman, and all those things, going overseas, and having a blockbuster, and then understanding that I was fortunate that God had to say, I'm gonna need you to sit down. And so in '03, I had a motorcycle accident where they were gonna cut my leg off, and I went into a coma for 2 weeks. So when I came out, I was in the hospital for about 6, almost 8 months. And that long recovery, then came the question of what is it I'm doing and what do I want it to really do? And why do I want to continue? And so I was fortunate enough to have this amazing, I call her my little healing baby. She's in this space today. She's going to be 23, going overseas to go play for Switzerland in basketball. But she's alive in my heart. So no matter how much time that I thought I was being successful, restaurateur, and all these other options, I had to be really still and be able to appreciate not only my family, but loved ones around me. And so that journey now is very different because we're in an industry of perceptions and false perceptions. And the idea of when we come to California, we're still buying into a mirage. So I'm thankful that we can also be the pulse of reality and that connective tissue, not only other people sustain and have a voice to other people, lift them up, but also be an example with our young people and also be able to be present so we can cultivate other people's lives. Because I know for one thing for sure, and that it will bring.
That's good. That's good. That's good. And he didn't even mention that he got a hit show on Netflix with Tyler Perry. I thought that's what he said. He didn't mention that. So G Wayne, your story is crazy too, man.
Man, okay. Mine's a little different. I think, well, it's not that I think. My hardest thing to overcome was actually getting through it without my family believing in me. Saying that I was too old to be doing stuff on the internet. I'm 48, so they're like, you got 3 years. I'm 48. telling me, why are you quitting Microsoft or whatever. I said, I ain't quit Microsoft. They laid me off. So there's a difference. But, um, that was really hard. And them actually seeing my accomplishments now and walking in the streets, people coming up taking pictures with me, just from being on the internet and seeing that my bank account hasn't changed. I thought Microsoft was good, but the internet has an astronomical number that you can make out there. So them actually seeing it, and they're like my biggest fans now, which is crazy. It went from, like you said, from 0 to 30 seconds. But I was on the bad note on that one. I got the bad in it. But now they see all the things that came up. Because like they're stuck in their old ways, and so the internet was something new. But life is changing. You got to get accustomed to what's going on. And I believe in today's world, we got to have multiple incomes. That's another reason why I'm now doing podcasts. So, I think that was pretty much my big.
So let's come to that because we limited on time. I'm gonna come back. I want to come to that now. So where we are. So tell us about quickly about Elevated Game.
Elevated game. It's not about elevating your game. It's about talking about whatever you want to. It's not being judged or anything like that. It's about life situations. Everything. We talk about basketball. We talk about politics. Everything. It's just about coming on the show, being comfortable, and getting it off your chest and being you.
Okay, got it. So now, give them here. So we got about 5 minutes left. All right. I want us now to give something to the audience on how they're going to be able to rebound. Give them something that they can. So OG, someone's like, yeah, no, that sounds good, but that's not. I ain't from the hood. I don't have those type of issues, but I'm still stuck. I like what you're doing, but I can't really relate to that. What would you say? How can they just quickly? Because I want everyone to be able to. What would you say? How can they rebound? How can they grab that?
Well, the first thing they have to do is not try to relate to what I'm doing. The first thing you have to do is realize you're not being like you. So you have to go within yourself to really know yourself. Like I said earlier, self-awareness. What do I want? Who do I want to be? What am I trying to accomplish? What am I trying to achieve? And then make your mark knowing that even if you don't accomplish that, understand that what's meant for you won't miss you. So you may have to post and pivot to something else. It's all about being self-aware. It's about knowing what you want and what you want to become and how you get there without using other people as your measuring stick.
That's good. That's good. I love that. All right, Malik.
I'm gonna just give it to you. So I'm gonna give it to you when you understand it. If you're in the streets, once you get fly, you gotta stay fly. So don't also allow that to play yourself because you can be in a relationship with a young man or a young girl, and so much we're always so fast wanting to be in this situation, the idea, the concept, the love, the bliss. But if you just took enough time, you would realize it was going to be an unhealthy relationship. So really what I want to share is it's Mother Nature. Just give it patience because some people go to the mall and they shop all day. And some people know they want to come in and go out. So whatever it is you want to do in any facet of the business, just know, just give it time, but just stay the course.
We got 3 minutes left.
Thanks for the clock. All right. Well, I guess mine is simple. Never let anyone outlove you loving you.
Say that
Never let anyone outlove you loving you. It's simple because no matter what battle or obstacle you come against, you're gonna always have yourself. And if you have yourself, then you can win. That's the only time you lose if you don't have yourself and have the internal answers that the universe has given to you. So that way you'll have all your superpowers. So again, never let anyone outlove you loving you.
there you go. Come on. Right. Give me a hand. Give me a hand. All right, mine's is simple.
Be you. Stay consistent. And don't worry about what anybody say and embrace the negative. Embrace it.
That's good. So listen, all of these guys have it cost them something to be here. It cost them something. So my question to you as we bring this to a close, right? What are you willing to lose? What are you willing to turn your back to go after what's waiting for you, because sometimes in rebounding, a coach would say face guard. Don't lose sight of them. So sometimes it looks like this. Everybody go and watch it. Sometimes you can't face guard. You got to put your back to it, right? And when you put your back to it, you can see, you can physically see, right, the flight of the ball. It's not still, it's in motion, and it's making its way to you, all right? So always remember anything. Thank you, Coach. All right, everybody, take your cameras out. So 1 second. Oh, take your cameras out. Go ahead, watch this. They're like, "Well, you told me to put them away. You told me to turn them off." Go ahead, take a selfie. Take a selfie and post it. Post it to the Los Angeles Tribune, the Los Angeles Tribune, and we'll tag you and post you all over the place. Go ahead. This is their moment. There we go. Hold on. Alicia's running up. Wait. Here she goes. There you go. There you go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Give her a round of applause. Thank you so much. Right, this is how we do it. This is how we professionally. This is how we professionally do it. Get off the stage. Go. They're way too friendly. It's just, you can never move them. Uh, Next, this gentleman came all the way from Tasmania. If you have any idea where that is, so he's an Aussie. He's really our ambassador down in Australia for the Los Angeles Tribune. He does so much. There's just way too much to tell you. But our web presence, really how we look and feel, authority sites, and just strategy. Let's give it up for Mr. Jeff Ross. There we go. You have to click it on. Okay. Did it go green? Did it go green? Wait, let me see. There we go. You're green. Okay, you're good. So, Jeff, first of all, give him a round of applause again. Got to keep going. Okay. It's great that you're here, and thank you so much for that. And really, you've done so much for us. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thank you. So, all the way from Australia, I'm in Tasmania. Proud father of 3 amazing boys, and known as the laptop lifestyle dad. I do fly around a fair bit, live the laptop lifestyle.
So, where have you just been recently?
So 3 weeks ago, I was in Japan, having an amazing trip with my eldest son. I made a promise to him when he was 10, and I said to him, when you're 13, we'll make sure that we travel anywhere around the world that you want to go to, and chose Japan. So we did 10 days in Japan.
It's funny because I was just in Japan right in February, and we both said, you know what, we need to move there. Who's been to Japan? Raise your hand. Who'd love going to Japan? Raise your hand. Okay, was the food good? The people, it's clean, right? Is that great? There you go. I loved it. I heard that. All right, talk a little bit about your son's resilience. This is quite a story.
Yeah, thank you. So 2 years ago, actually, like 2 years ago and 1 month to the day, he was playing soccer with his mates. He's 11 years old, playing soccer with his mates. And then the next day, he comes up to mum and dad and he says, "Something wrong's with my right foot, Dad. I can't feel it. It's like numb." And so he's sort of like he was dragging on. Anyway, we took him to the hospital because something was obviously wrong. And by that night, so it was like 10 a.m. in the morning, by midnight, he lost his entire right side of his body. And he lost all mobility. So one of the most devastating things as a father is watch your 11-year-old son go through that. Anyway, so we're in hospital for 2 to 3 weeks. I'm so grateful for the laptop lifestyle because I was able to run my business and still be dad whilst I was, by the hospital bed. Anyway, long story short, all of the doctors and all the tests and all that sort of thing, they diagnosed him with MS, pediatric MS. And they told us that he would not be able to walk and he'd be in a wheelchair for at least 2 to 2.5 years. And he'd have to relearn how to walk. Well, God and us had other ideas to that. And one of the most strongest willpowers I've ever seen in my life come from my 11-year-old son at the time. And, he's now, going on this journey, and just the fortitude and the resilience and the determination to say, no, I'm going to get up and walk again within 6 months, Dad. And, you know what? Through prayer and determination, he was up and talking. If not, he was running. And then, so 9 months after that whole journey, we're off to India on a mission trip. And then just recently, 3 weeks ago, it's his 13th birthday, we took him to Japan. So miracle story after miracle story, and it's amazing how strong the mindset can be when you just say, "No, we're going to do it," and we broke it down. And we went through the journey, but look, it wasn't easy. At the very beginning, I was very, very angry, with God and the universe and the whole world around me. It's like I had to go through that whole journey of lamenting and really understand what that actually really means. And I couldn't be angry at Harrison, I couldn't be angry at my wife, but I had this anger, and I just had to get it out somewhere. So, um, you know, 2 weeks after the journey, after we got home from hospital, I just went down and I just sat with him, and I just said, "Look, this is so unfair that we're having to go through this." And I just found myself going off at a bit of a rage fit, but it wasn't at anybody. I was screaming. I was just angry at God. But that whole process was cathartic, because I had to get that anger somewhere, and God showed us big enough to take it, right? So when we lift it up and we give everything to God, He wants our anger, He wants our happiness, He wants our sadness, He wants the whole lot. And when we give it to Him and put it on the cross, that is where true forgiveness, that is where true healing, that is where miracles really could happen. I truly believe that.
Give her a round of applause. Because it is, the hard thing about that, and really going through it is, when it's your child, right? When it's, it happens to you, that's one thing. It happens to parents, because that's sort of the natural progression. It's when it happens to the child. So you got through that. You've done an amazing journey. He's an amazing son.
Yes, He is. And it taught me so much about myself and how to be the father that needed to be present, to just be there as well. And I learned so much out of that, and he learned so much out of that. We're closer because of it, or my wife and I are closer because of it, or our family. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. You don't wish these sort of things on anybody. But it really is that whole lesson of being grateful for our trials and tribulations. Because that is where our character is tested, and that's where we're built up. And, if I could weather that storm, I could probably weather most storms now.
I would say so. The other thing too is, and we only have a couple minutes, but it is that resilience piece as we talked about rebounding, right? It's that whole piece that you keep moving forward. So, and one thing you've done is you do that with your clients. You do that with everybody around you. You sort of lift them up, and you make them. It's about them. Talk about that.
Yeah, I appreciate you. And that's, for 10 years ago, it would have been.
They're going to put your mic.
Yeah, 10 years ago, thank you. 10 years ago, that would have been a completely different story. It wasn't about, it was very much about the ego and the arrogance of it all. But going through something like that, it humbles you, and it learns, you teach you to be about service and lift others up. And through that, it's amazing in that partnership. And when we can help others to find their voice, to lift up their voice, to elevate their voice, to amplify their voice, to partner in that, to have an impact on legacy and global around the world, that is where true service really starts to come into action.
Give that a round of applause. But it's the way it is. And it's great. So, by the way, Jeff just came from Australia yesterday to be here. He's going to Atlanta for how many days?
So flying tonight, so I leave at 10 o'clock tonight.
He's out here after this.
I leave, and I'm there for Atlanta for 4 days, and then I fly all the way back home to Australia. I've got to fly to Melbourne, and then I fly from Melbourne to Launceston, Tasmania.
Yeah, and then he'll be back with us November 20th for our show on November 20th. So make sure you're here, because we got quite the crew flying in for that. It's really amazing. And that's a distance. Right? He beat you on that one, right? He beat you on that. Yeah. So close, but he got you. And it's great to have you really part of the Los Angeles Tribune team and everything that we do and we create. And what you bring to us is just that resilience. And we keep moving forward. No matter how it looks, we get it done. We have to do it again. Talk about just really quickly the AI show coming up.
Yeah, so we've got the AI and Business Summit coming up on the 31st of July. We've got some pretty amazing speakers from the AI marketing and business world. And I think this is probably going to be, my fourth or fifth, I've actually lost count now, where I've had the absolute privilege and honor and blessing to be able to host this event with my co-host Parisa Rose, and it's going to be an amazing event.
Awesome. Give Mr. Jeff Ross a thunderous round of applause. Thank you, Jeff. Awesome. He's literally going to leave here, get in the car, and get on an airplane. So this is the way it goes in our industry, right? Nobody's got it like what Joseph did, but that's a story for another day. I'm about to bring Joseph back up, but here we go. Go ahead, grab your phones out again. This is. You can take pictures of me all day long, but go ahead, grab your phones out again. And if I don't know you, go ahead and text me right now. My number is, I'm going to do it one time only, 425-894-0023. When you do that, don't text me just hi. Okay? Then you get deleted. Your name, your business, podcast, or whatever it is, one thing about you nobody else knows, and we'll connect in the next couple of weeks. Everybody got that? We got a lot of shows going on. The other thing too that we have is on the right there on the chairs, we are going to be launching the Los Angeles Tribune Leadership Academy. Give that a round of applause. And we're going to be launching the Los Angeles Tribune Marketing Journal. So if that speaks to you or any of the journals on there, you need to connect on there, connect with me. We have a conversation in a couple weeks together. That sound good? We in agreement? All right. Let's give a thunderous. First of all, everybody, please stand up. This is because that time of the show. Everybody, please stand up. I know, my God, we got to stand up. Now, give Mr. Joseph McClendon a thunderous round of applause.
Has this been great so far? Yes, we ain't seen nothing yet. And I want to remind you of a couple things, and that is that everybody here is of service, giving back, and the only thing that we ask of you, take it, use it, learn it, and be of service to other people as well. You don't have to give us credit for it, or give credit for it. Just say it as you earned it, you owned it, and give it out there. And I will say that it's been my experience that all of us on this planet are here for the same thing. You're here in this room for the same thing. And I'm going to ask, as we get started, why did you show up here tonight? And what's crazy is if you look back here, turn around and look at the mixture of people, look at the amount of people that are hanging around here. And this is a Thursday night, if I believe, and there's lots of stuff right outside these doors. There's food, there's all kinds of other stuff to do, but you've chosen to be in here. Why are you here? Why are you here? It's not a rhetorical question. Why are you here? You guys are looking at me like that. You're looking at me like this. Okay. I'm going to tell you why you're here. And some of you are going to have a reaction when I say why you're here. But then when I tell you the truth, you're going to go, yep, that's right. We're all here to be wealthy. Now, I see the look on some of your faces, yours especially. You're going, it's not about the money. Okay? Me? Yeah. Oh, I love the money. Okay, great. I'm into the money. Okay, great. Perfect. Then I read you wrong. I apologize. This is Miss Money over here. Here's the truth of the matter. Wealthy, let's give it a definition. Let's see if we're on the same page for this. It's to be healthy, happy, and financially abundant. Is that true? Yeah. Okay, so if we're all on that same page, that is our outcome for ourselves and other people as well. Can we agree on that? Yes. So having said that, I would like to switch gears for a second and let's talk about that financial abundance side of it as well. The gentleman I'm going to introduce you to is an unbelievable businessman. Unbelievable. And he is responsible for making millions, helping millions and millions of people become financially independent to the tune of millions of billions of dollars. And we just really want to switch that gear so that you can have that side of it as well. So, welcome to the stage, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. Hi, guys. Go ahead, have a seat and let's talk. Mr. Ripley. Yes, sir. Everybody out there. Keep wife. Oh, I forgot that is your wife. Oh, yeah. I never forget. That's why. That's what I said when I said that she's going, it's not about the money. She's going, of course it is. Okay. Share us a little bit about what brings you to do what you do. What brings me to do what I do and why. Tell us a little bit about yourself first and what brings you. Quick background. Like, how many of you guys have ever started a business or a business or your business? Yeah. Many of the business owners that I've met are people who didn't have very much growing up. They in order to have stuff, they had to figure out a way to get it. And so my folks, I was the oldest of my kids. My mom and dad were great parents, lower middle class, two jobs plus mom was doing daycare in the house, And so
as the oldest kid, if I was going to get those new, I know it sounds funny, but they were new when I was that age. Nikes, these new things. We didn't know if they were Nikes or Nikes. Well, I think we're about the same. But you had to figure out how to get it. And so I started working young. I won't say I started my first real business when I was a teenager. I have people that say I started my first business when I was 8 years old, and I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. You're selling Pop Tarts next door to door or something. But we did start young. I started my first company at 18 that had payroll, and then I met Michelle, and I'd started the first recycling business in Portland, Oregon, very green city, and I thought, oh, she's not going to want to be married to a garbage man, and so we got into the cellular phone business in 1986 when it was still very early. I grew that, and so on and on and on, and I've been making a payroll for all these years, for 40 plus years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Spectacular.
And so,
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, is there's another just success story because where we're going to go from here is what he's done for other people as well. Share with us what.
So as I got further along, and hopefully this will resonate with some of you guys. At some point, you've kind of done a lot of the cool things that people think of as the trappings, and I used to make those big goals where it's like I want to impact 1 billion people or 100 million people, or yes, anybody know those things where people say, I want to do this thing, and around my 50th birthday, I concluded I would like to help more businesses stay in business for more years, making more money. It didn't matter if anybody knew who I was. Only mattered what can we teach these business owners so they could do better, so they would grow, so they could hire more people, so they could buy health insurance for their employees, sponsor the little league team or whatever, that kind of stuff. And I've spent the last 11 years still building businesses, but really with a specific intent to push stuff out so that people could not have to have as many cuts and bruises as I got along the way.
From the hard knocks.
Yeah.
You have a methodology to do that, correct?
Yeah.
Share with us a little bit about that. Say somebody, because you asked the question, how many of us have started businesses or had businesses? And you said there's something before, and you said a lot of people are not ready. What makes somebody ready?
To start a business?
Yeah, no. To be successful at a business. I know a lot of
Oh, wow. Okay. Let's get real fast. Let's get really quickly. Here's the deal. Most people that I meet who have an idea about starting a business have come up with something they've decided is really interesting and cool. But most of the time, it sucks. And they want to force feed something.
That's a technical term, by the way. Okay.
They want to force feed their magical idea into the public, and they want investors. People come to me at least every week, if not multiple times a week, saying, can you invest in my thing? And I'll say, well, sure, what is it? And then what's the exit strategy? And they're like, what do you mean exit? I said, well, if you go to investors, they already have money. They were smart enough to get the money. You don't have the money. They have the money. How are you going to prove to them you're going to do something better with their more productive than they already were to get the money in their pocket? And people, they don't get it. So what I love is finding people who have something that there's a desire in the marketplace. People want this thing. We're seeing it right now with crypto. I'm involved with a number of crypto things right now, and there's a desire for it. We have broken systems around the world. This is a way done right to completely change the financial landscape. So if you bring something that's valuable to the market, and it may not be very sexy. I remember as a kid watching this movie, Richard Dreyfuss and Bette Midler, and Down and Out in Beverly Hills. Anybody remember that? And he's driving around his convertible Rolls Royce. But remember what he did was they made wire hangers for dry cleaners. It was the most boring business, but he was this very rich guy, and
everybody needs hangers.
Yeah, because everybody needs the hanger. If we figure out what is productive to do out into the marketplace and we become successful, then out of the abundance that we create, then we can do our passion project. Then we can give to the charity or start the thing. We do it out of success. We don't do it out of scarcity and out of lack, because we think that will be something that will make us feel better about our empty space, right? If we do something really meaningful, not only will we have the wherewithal to do big things for the world. We'll also have credibility for other people who want to come play with us.
So a vanity project or a vanity business is not always necessarily a successful business.
If you have something to be super vain about, then you might be able to do it. We had some really cool people sitting up here a minute ago that had some really good skills, and those people can do it. But there's a lot of starving lawyers and actors and writers and producers and entrepreneurs. And I'll go one more step about being successful. When I'm meeting somebody who's kind of successful, maybe they're doing a couple $1,000,000 a year, and they're kind of getting the groove going, and they're doing okay. And they're like, I want to do $25 million. So I'll say, okay, well, let's look at your profit and loss statement. And as we look at it, they're usually consuming anything extra. So they're paying all their bills, and anything left over, they're getting a nicer car, a nicer house, a nicer vacation. So if they say, well, I want to grow, my first thing is, are you willing to take a pay cut? Are you willing to take out less so you can feed the machine instead of just feed yourself? And you know what? 99.9% of the time they say no. They say no.
You mean
And I'll say,
my roles?
I say, good, then good luck to you. Right. So if you want to be successful, you need to make the machine, you want to, if you've got a goose that lays golden eggs, you want to make sure the goose is always healthy.
What is, give a hand on that, because what is one last thing that you would share with everybody here, wherever you are, what to do next?
So it's something we learned a long time ago, and I'm going to ask the audience and ask everybody on the live stream as well. Has anybody ever done something, put together something that worked? That's had something that worked. Doesn't have to be a business, anything. You figured out a process that made something work. That you go, oh, look, if you do blah, 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 you get this. And what'd you say, recipe? Recipes. My wife has told this story. If you have a recipe to make chocolate chip cookies and you follow the recipe, will you get sourdough bread? No. You're gonna get chocolate chip cookies. So here's the thing to remember: whether it's a recipe for cookies, it's a recipe for a happy marriage. I've been married 38 years, and I believe incredibly happily. If it's a recipe for business, it's a recipe for whatever. Just write this down: SRA. Same rules apply. The same process can almost always be repurposed in a different place. People have asked me how I could do so many things in different industries. It's because the businesses work the same. The product may be different, the service may be different, the business works the same. That's what you do. If you learn, this is how you do it, follow these steps, and you're going to get a predictable result. That if you have a good product and you have enough funding, you have a very high likelihood of great success.
Beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. Give them a hand, and young ladies.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Beautiful. All right, we're going to move along very, very quickly. By the way, find these people and use them like $3 rented mules. And what I mean by that is that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for, is to be of service, to give back, because somebody did that for us. There's not one of these people that have been on this stage, self included, that somebody didn't come along and lend a helping hand and share their wisdom with us. And having said that, this next lady that I'm going to bring up is an example of not just sharing something and not just giving back, but giving back in a way that is making a difference in people's lives. And I'm going to say this before I bring her up here, and that is this. Everybody look at me for a second, whether you look at my camera or whatever, and that is this. Do not believe the hype. And what I mean by that is the world is full of, right now, a bunch of crap that's being fed to us through our screens. And what is wrong is always available, and it's put in front of us constantly all the time. Don't believe it. Yes, it's there. But start to believe people like the lady I'm going to bring up here next. Start to believe the people that you heard up here. Start to believe yourself of what's possible. Because when you do, you become what I call optimistic. And optimistic doesn't just mean every cloud is a silver lining or every glass is half full. Optimistic means that you have more options. When you're pessimistic, you got two options. It's your sympathetic nervous system that's called fight or flight. Those are your two options. But when you're optimistic, you got thousands of options. And this lady that I'm about to bring here, she's a podcast expert. She's as she pointed out to me, a new author. But she's an author and giving back in a way that's made such a difference in other people's lives and continuing to do that. Help me welcome to the stage, ladies and gentlemen. This is Alicia Doss. Come on. And remember that, don't believe the hype. Share this.
I love that. Don't believe the hype. And to me, I would interpret that as we are spirit. We are love. This is our playground to learn more about how we're here to give back. We're here to love. We're here to wake up. And all the rest of it is just entertainment.
It's spectacular. Well, share with us a little bit about you. What brings you to do what you do?
And it's really a faithful calling. It's a divine calling. It's an obsession my whole life to really not only to wake up to God, to spirit, by whatever name we call it. And I'm half English. I have a platinum blonde mother and a dark Indian father. I'm a bridge. But not only a bridge between races, but a bridge between worlds. Because I've been hanging out with angels and with spirit very consciously since I was a child. And so, really, my passion is that we would all really know that we're divine, that we're God, that we're all the same face with different facets.
Beautiful, beautiful. Share with us a little bit about, because I know you do a podcast, and I also learned about your new book that is not out yet. And as I say these things, ladies and gentlemen, as I said to you before, find these people, hunt them down, and we're here to give.
Yes.
We're here to make a difference. And so shall you be, as we're done already.
And so shall you. So are you. Do you know? I mean, it's just when you just have that impulse to give, like to a stranger, and you're like, oh, I don't know what, just do it. Oh my goodness, don't we need that in our world? That impulse to give. Thank you for asking. My podcast is Live Your Love, and I have spiritual influence. I want you on. I want you. This man. Oh man, you're witnesses. Y'all are my witnesses. So my last three guests were Jack Canfield, Marion Williamson, and Neil Donald Walsh, and I say that because it's really about it's these people who have this incredible calling to give, and they don't know anything else, and they live that. Yes, you know, if you're wondering, like, I don't know, should I start the podcast? Should I serve in that way? Should I write the book? Yes, we need you, mamas and papas. We need you, right? We need you. Yes.
Yes, and that is true. Give her a hand on that because that is so true. One of the things that when I walk in here, this is a freaking bookstore we're in right now.
Yes, a bookstore. Bookstore.
What that
Physical
means is,
books.
as you look around, those of you that are watching us through the camera, you can't see behind us, but this place is full. Outside these doors is a mall. And there's a mall full of people tooling around and doing things, but it's full here because of people like you that are inspiring and stimulating people to get more knowledge. Share with us a little bit more. Tell me about your book.
My book is called Your Archangelic Ancestry. Yes, so it's really like ancestry.com for the angelic realm. And it's really about like you're an angel. I mean, well, that's not a stretch. You're an angel, but we're all angels. And it is very much. It's very esoteric. It's about how the angelic realm predated this realm by millennia, and we've come from that place. And now it's time not to go back there and try to squeeze into our pastel robes, but it's time to bring all that acumen present. It's really about knowing divinity from within, not reaching out there, but God's eyes looking through us.
Beautiful. I absolutely love it. So, kind of in closing, because we're going to wrap this up. Oh, we still got 5 minutes? Well, then talk, girl. Come on. I'm serious, I'm curious about when you say that we're all angels, what does that really mean? How would you describe that? Yeah, when you say we're angels, a lot of people think about the wings and that kind of thing, but what does that mean to you?
We are messengers of God. God needs every one of us, and God speaks through every one of us. And it's time to bring that message from the inside out and trust ourselves and be messengers of God. I mean, all the things we think of as angels, right? Servers, messengers, always connected to God. So it is literally about connecting to the archangelic realm and to our own angelic heritage, but it's really in the broader sense about calling ourselves forward into speaking from spirit, not just about it.
Do you have a methodology to say if somebody that came along and said, listen, I want to call myself forward, I want to speak from here, what would you say to them to do to be able to start to do that?
I would say, well, first of all, wake up, find some sort of spiritual practice, meditate, pray, random act of kindness, connect to God. So prime that pump and then literally open, like just now for a moment, like let's all just, even y'all talking back there, like just open and see what spirit is calling you into right in this moment. Like, how is spirit, how is God, the angels, Buddha, Christ, by whatever name you relate to, just connect. And in this moment, be aware that we're all one, we're all love. And then if you were to speak to someone else or even speak into your own space, like speak out loud that message that spirit is giving you, it's pretty extraordinary. You will find words coming from your mouth that you never expected. You will find divinity flowing through you like a wellspring.
Beautiful, beautiful. That is absolutely amazing. And I encourage everybody, again, this is methodology. Methodology means there's a method to produce a result. What is it that Aaron just said? Same thing applies. Same rules apply. Same rules apply. The methodology of letting it flow through you, opening up so that it does flow through you. These words that you've heard tonight from her, from everybody that's up here, they're in you. Everything you've ever touched, tasted, smelled, and experienced is in your nervous system. It's in there. And when we recall them by, and this is what I want to say to everybody here. If you've heard something this evening, if you've learned something this evening that resonates with you, tell somebody about it. At the very least, this practice that you're talking about with meditation and things like that, that is spectacular. And at the very least, you can start by just talking about it. Run your pie hole. Remember that door goes both ways. And talk about it. Just share your experience because you never know when something is going to change your life. And what you're doing in terms of a podcast and a book and so on and so forth is putting it out there. Now it's your turn. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up.
So thank you.
Give it up. All right. So I'm closing this out. That's what I'm closing this out. All right. You're mine now. All right. So here's what I'd like to do. First off, I want to thank everybody. Oh, I'm not closing it out?
No, we've still got
Wow.
Michael and then two panels, and then you put.
Boy, is my face red. I am so sorry. I didn't know that. Okay. All right. So, well, while I'm up here just for a second anyway, while they're figuring out what to do, what's coming up next? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, the amazing. And by the way, this man is my business partner, and the Tribune has already done so much for putting it together. It is Michael Silvers, ladies and gentlemen.
Give Joseph a thunderous round of applause. Troublemakers. Oh my Lord. It's good. Yeah. All right. Everybody say bye, Jeff. Yeah, we said bye to you already. Go back to Ozzy. Let's see. Lefty. All right. We're gonna not you. We're gonna bring the. We gotta get on a second. Bring your crew. Bring your crew. All right. So these next two gentlemen are. This is where just trouble. I'm telling you, comes every single day. Yeah, I'm gonna let you guys introduce yourself. So what's great? Let me just make sure what's after. So I've got this. We got this hooked in. Okay, good. Yeah, okay, I got it. You're after. Okay, they're after them. All right, everybody, give a thunderous round of applause to Martin and Deborah. We'll talk about who they are when they get up here. Awesome. Thank you. How you doing? How you doing? Okay. Grab mics. Hi, can you hear me? I am saying. All right. So give them a thunderous round of applause, everybody. They're just saying hello to a couple people, just like taking those Aussies, taking everybody with them. So first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself, Mark.
Wow. Well, thank you for having us, and thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with some amazing people. I'm a writer, a journalist, a filmmaker. I've been working in the television business for quite a few years, making documentaries, and a number of words I've heard tonight: reinvention, rebound, resilience apply, I think, to everything we've done. Deborah and I worked together a long time ago, and we've come back together to put together a book of all that work from the 90s. It's all about as old as humanity when we were painting. Is this thing on? When we were painting pictures on cave walls. But telling stories has always been my kind of passion and my I think forte. And talk to people. It gives you that opportunity as a journalist and a filmmaker to meet people where they are and kind of a license to ask all those awkward questions that you couldn't do in real life. And that's really what I did. Why I did what I did back then and why I do what I do now.
Yeah, we talked about too, really looking at a show too, just about the 90s, right? Because so much was going on. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I wanted to say also, there's a thing, I do this thing because I'm getting old where I memorize things. And one of the things I wanted to share you, when you were talking about what you do, there's a line by Bob Dylan, he was not busy being born, he's busy dying. And we have to keep being reborn. We have to keep going forward. Martin, that's like more your vision,
well,
really.
I was a journalist in the 90s, wrote about a lot of different pop culture events from interviewing Prince, interviewing Ice-T on the day that OJ went on the run, to the first UFC fights, to some of the first, all kinds of things happened in the 90s, which at that time, you think it's just going to be here and gone. But in fact, those were the seeds that planted way back then, and we're looking at it. I mean, Ice-T's a great example. When I interviewed him, been in a couple of movies, he'd kind of become a star, but that guy, he's been on TV for 27 years. I think you said it's going to be the longest running live.
In 3 years, SVU will be the longest live, nighttime show.
And as much as I couldn't have guessed that back then, it kind of makes perfect sense because the guy had a vision and was driven, right from the very start, I think.
The question is about
just on the 90s as a whole. I mean, it seems to touch people who were there like us, and it seems to touch people who weren't there too. The 90s was the last analog decade. This was the last time you had to buy music and pick it up. You had to go and see people. You didn't just click a button. And I think that's why it means something for us, because we were there, but also for a lot of kids. Hip-hop is only one little part of what we did back then. I'm not an expert on hip-hop, but
much.
Well, I think, a lot of that music that was planted, again, those seeds that were planted back then, have come to fruition.
It's very difficult for me to answer that about the 90s because I kind of want to just keep creating things. And one of the things I've done from doing this book with Martin is I've actually gone out and bought 3 analog cameras. I've still been a photographer for most of my working career. I've also made a film with my wife and done a couple of other things. But buying an analog camera again, I realized how much I loved organic processes, how much I love human processes, really. They're really important. But Martin's really underselling himself. His writing is incredibly beautiful in the book. It's amazing. And it really gives you a sense of time and a place. And what I have to tell you was that to be around Q was 23.
22, I think.
22, and so smart, so ahead of.
Not a surprise that he is where he is today, I think, even though back then, hip-hop was still kind of an outlaw music back then. I mean, you had presidents who were criticizing it, and it was controversial. But, I mean, it's become mainstream. I think that's one of the thrusts of the book is just, you never know what you're seeing now, what's going to become, mainstream.
Was it the music for you?
It's always the words. I mean, I'm a words guy. I'm a word nerd. So it was always really the words and the message. A political science major. So much of the music back then in the early 90s had a political message. I don't know if all of that is still there in hip hop quite today that it was back then. But all that stuff spoke to me.
What was really funny was that I used to do a lot of photography and I used to go on the street with these guys because I didn't have any lights. I didn't have enough money for lighting. So we would go on the street, but it ended up becoming kind of the perfect thing. I have to tell you, I just want to share something with you. In 1 week, we went from Ice-T's house to Coolio's house, and seeing the difference in their lifestyle was kind of stunning, wasn't it?
Well, I think Ice-T had made enough to buy the house in the hills, and Coolio.
He was living in Beverly Hills.
But it's the photograph in the book is an amazing photo because it's Coolio with his dog, a beautiful German Shepherd. I think anytime you can photograph someone with their dog, you should absolutely do that.
What were Ice-T's dog's names?
Oh, 187 and
Homicide.
It's great you guys remember all this. That's great. I don't remember yesterday. Yeah. But there's a lot around the 90s, and we've actually talked about doing a podcast just on the 90s. Who would listen to that if we did that? There you go. So yeah, that's okay. No, that audience there, right. So, and you got people who would be on there because they were part of it. They were doing something there, or they know somebody who was. It's a time that's not looked at as much as some of the other. It's really interesting. They do shows on the 70s and 80s, and all of a sudden it's on the 2000s, and I'm not sure why.
Well, you have Oasis out on tour right now, another great 90s band. I think there is that 30-year cycle, but I think, as I say, I think there's something a little special about that era because things were tangible and more kind of durable, I think.
And also, these guys were poets, and that's what I thought was really amazing. That it wasn't like a contrived thing by a record label, which things are kind of done a lot more contrived and a lot more controlled. It was real pure poetry, and that was really beautiful.
And I think the thing is when we really look deep into ourselves, or when something's going on, what is it that we let out? I mean, you're a wordsmith, right? You let that out. You do it through your eyes. You do it through the camera lens. And it's really, for being an artist at that point, it's looking outside yourself. And I think that's, we've had the artists who go in the deep depression and they do all that. But when you get outside yourself and look at sort of what's going on around you, I think that's the learning. And that's what people are really interested in, is how you're seeing it in a different way than I see it. But are you willing to talk about it from all different directions? And that's, I think, from an audience perspective, that's what they're looking for. They want to make, and they don't, just run, take it, have the conversation. What's one thing that's funny too is obviously you two speak the same mother tongue, right? As we say, talk about where you grew up just really quickly, because this story was great.
Well, actually, we both grew up in sort of the suburbs of South London, not very close to where we but we're very close to each other, but we didn't know each other till we moved here. But I think everyone has their own journey, and mine came from a world where no one wrote books, no one made films, and I think they're all the same. So, the opportunity to do what I've done through my career is.
Okay, so one of the things that's really weird for a lot of American people, I'm 60 years old, was that like when I was growing up, there were still people riding horses. I mean, like, no, I'm not even joking. We had coal. We used to put the coal in the
rack and bow man.
The rack and bow man, the milkman delivered milk, and it was, and like there were lots of like travelers, lots of gypsies around, things like that. It was very, very. It was like 25 years. Yeah, but it's 25 years behind America, wasn't it? Where we grew up, I think, as well. And I feel like one of the things for me was I was too young for punk rock. I was too young for kind of the ska revival. So this was a wonderful gift to get to photograph that, because I always loved that kind of photography of cultures, subcultures,
right.
artistic groups.
Now it's the mainstream culture, but then it was definitely the subculture.
So I shouldn't bring this up, but 1977, I was a teenager, and my parents took me to England. We went all around, and every time I went to take a shower, there'd be a little spitting water. And I thought, wait a minute, this is the country where the sun never set, right? But you can't even do a shower. Tell me about it. It was one of those things, and as an American, you're so spoiled, right? We do have things that other people don't have. We have to realize that at times, and not every American has that, but we have to always look at ourselves of how do we fit in this world vision, which Americans have a tendency of we have.
Well, we both moved here. I think I think I had a lot of conflicting visions of America even back then. But overall, yeah, bigger, brighter, stronger, faster, better, more fun, more colorful, and you know what? Most of all, more diverse. The South London in the 80s and 90s was a pretty monochromatic place, really. I think about that a lot because of what's going on in the world right now, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. Do you know what I think, though, Martin, that's really interesting, though, is like when you think about it, like the jazz musicians went to France, didn't they, in like the 40s? And I think that there was...
Jimi Hendrix went to London.
Jimi Hendrix, people, they thought it was...
The Roots went to London to get signed.
Yes. So I think there is a thing where there's like a love and respect of American culture, and it's more valued in England than it is even here.
I think in a way, there is a history there for sure.
Yeah, and it's that's a whole music story we could do, right? Because that's always fascinating when you really take a look at what happened in the '60s, and you had the uprise of the Beatles, and then you had the band before them, actually, the Beach Boys, and you had Brian Wilson and McCartney looking at each other,
and watching and pet sounds. How could they do it? So we got to, and then they create that, and it just did that, which is how we all become better. Because we take a look at the other, and it's not always about I want to be better, but how'd they do that? How did they create that? What could we create? Go ahead.
One of the things I also have to say that Martin really tapped into was like when we were with like Freestyle Fellowship and the Far Side and those groups. Were they competing with each other? Was there competition between them, or were they pretty friendly?
I mean, I think it was a friendly competition, but for sure.
Yeah, I think so too. But I think there were also, I think one of the things that's also interesting about all art is there are the artists that other artists look at, and then there are the artists that become famous. And I think we got to work with a lot of people who were like really cutting edge and doing really interesting things.
Well, one thing begets another, to Michael's point. And I think one of the things that fascinates me about hip hop in the very early days was making music from other people's music. I mean, I've loved all that music that so much of it. Essentially, they raided their parents' record collection and made new music out of it.
Funny how we did that. All right, so we got to wrap this up. You two, thank you so much for being here. You also, there's another, just because we got a lot of people in front of us, talk about the other podcast you're part of.
My wife has a podcast called Revamped with Juliet Lando. My wife was on a show called Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She played a character called Drusilla. It's the first podcast done by a cast member. It's award-winning. I think we're at 250,000 right now. It's very, very informative, and it's super fun. And to tell the truth, I love old-time radio, so we write a lot of little skits and scenes, and we try and make it more like a radio show than just a straight podcast.
Yeah. And isn't that brilliant? Give that a round of applause in today's world. So, all right, you two, thank you so much. You'll be seeing more from them. If you have any questions, they'll be here after we wrap the show.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys. Michael. Thank you so much. Give a round of applause, audience. I haven't forgot about you down there. All right, fantastic. I don't even know. Isn't that great? I sort of lost my track. I got carried away with everything going on here, and I never do that. Oh yes, that's right. Okay, so now we have a panel. Did I lose Joseph McClendon somewhere? There, right in front of me. That's just awful. So let's give it up for. It might just be you. Let's give it up for Mr. Joseph McClendon.
Who am I bringing up?
I think it's just me.
Bring it. Okay. Well, welcome to the panel. Okay. A young lady, please introduce yourself. Tell everybody about you, where you're from, what you do.
And make sure this is on. Hi, everybody. I don't just keep time. My name is Charlotte Frost. I am a retired lawyer. I write children's books. I have a cattle ranch, and I do a lot of fun stuff. I split my time between Houston and Frogville, Oklahoma. So that's who I am.
All right. Beautiful. Well, give her a hand, ladies and gentlemen. I've never known anybody to have a cattle ranch. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I am a fifth-generation Frogvillian on one side of the family and a fourth generation on the other. And my great-grandfather came across the Red River when it was frozen over. There was cold weather back a long time ago, too. And he brought 200 head of cattle with him. And we've had cattle in the family ever since.
Wow, fantastic. Well, and listen, our audience has thinned out a little bit, but these troopers that are still here, what would you share with them on their journey? Because everybody, I always look at it as everybody, every day we have the opportunity to start again or carry forward what we're already doing. What would you share with everybody, your advice on where they are and where they might want to go?
Well, I'm a pretty good example. I grew up, my family, I'm a first generation college student. No, nobody in my family had ever gone to college. And then I went to law school. So I was supposed to be a secretary. I would have been a terrible secretary, by the way. I don't have the right personality. But that's what I thought I was going to be. And I managed to go to college. I was a scholarship kid. I couldn't play sports. I really suck at sports. So, I was one of the smart kids, so I got to go to school for that. But then I went to law school, and I thought I wanted to be a trial lawyer. And there weren't a lot of women trial lawyers who traveled around the country, which was what I did. That was what I called a parachute trial lawyer. I got the call on Friday to drop into a courtroom on Monday where I hadn't seen the file and didn't know the judge and didn't know the issues. And that's what I did for the better part of 40 years. And I won more cases than I lost. I was good at what I did. And I woke up one morning and decided, I don't want to do this anymore. So now I write children's books, and my books are designed for kids to have something positive. I notice that a lot of children's literature currently is sort of depressing, and you watch and you see, and there's not anything positive in the messaging. And my main character is a girl. She turns into a frog when she turns 13. In Frogville, boys turn into a frog when they're 13, but she was a twin, she was a minute older. So she turned into the frog. And probably all girls turn into a frog at 13, frankly. But it's a 7-book series, and it's about family and positivity and overcoming and a little bit of reinventing yourself. And I've reinvented myself from trial lawyer to author, and I do a lot of other stuff. And you can do that, but you have to make up your mind to do it, and you have to do the work. Nobody's ever going to give it to you. If you're the kid who grew up 13 miles from a loaf of bread, like I did, because we were way out in the middle of nowhere, nobody gives it to you. I don't care who you are, what you look like, you got to do the work. And it was like Lefty was talking about earlier. You have to do the work, and you have to practice it. You have to be positive. That's what I tell people.
I'd like to ask you a question that I didn't get a chance to ask Lefty, and I usually like to ask everybody this, and I'm going to ask you and you out there as well. How do you get yourself to do what you know you should do, but you don't do it? And let me clarify that. And I'll ask, and as I'm looking at the camera out here, I'm going to go through what I call the toxic 10. And these are the things that stop us. And the question on the other side of this is, how do you get back past them? And if as I go through them, any one of them that makes you go, yeah, that's me, or yeah, that has hindered my life, either raise your hand or go like that. Here they go. Procrastination. I'll stop there. Because those of you that aren't raising your hand, going, I'll raise my hand later. Okay, so procrastination, hesitation, fear of failure, fear of success, self-doubt, self-loathing, imposter syndrome, stress, overwhelm, and fear of rejection. So everybody's got those. If you don't raise your hand, you lie about other things as well. Here's my question. What is your plan for changing those? You, being a trial lawyer, and those are no small feats.
Right.
Writing books, no small feats. Writing one book is no small feat. You got 7 of them? Okay.
7 children's books and 3 business development books.
Get out of here. No, I mean it. Get out of here. Okay.
Adult ADD. You know.
So what would you say? And my question to everybody: what is your plan? And I'm asking you, what makes you do those things that most people won't? Because you have them as well. Have you ever procrastinated?
Every day, including today.
So what makes you step up and do it and do those things and gets past those psychological challenges and stops? And that question is for everybody, but I'd like to hear your answer.
They are things I want to accomplish, and the only way to do them is to do them. So even if you procrastinate, that just means you have to work harder tomorrow to make up for what you didn't do today. And some of that's trial lawyer training. You put it on the calendar, because if it isn't on the calendar, it doesn't happen. But if you've got a deadline, then you got to meet it. So it's really about meeting obligations, and I don't like to let people down. So I've told people I'm going to finish this book series, and I'm going to finish this book series one way or the other.
So she is giving you methodology, because everybody's different. What is it that pulls you? Hers is, just going to tell you, hers are 3 things. She tells people that she's going to do it, and she doesn't like to disappoint them. And what's behind that is, if she disappoints them, then she's going to get rejected. She doesn't like that. That's psychological, so she can do that. She also puts it on her calendar. These are recipes. The reason I'm bringing this up is maybe you can use that as well. Most of us will say, I'm going to do something. Raise your hand if you've ever said, I'm going to do it, and then you said, I'm going to do it. He's raising both hands here. Okay? I'm going to do it Wednesday. But you didn't put it on your calendar, and then Thursday you go, what was it I was going to do? Okay? So putting it on your calendar. And that, these are my words, that that you want to do it. And I'm going to say to everybody, I believe that we all have a purpose. And we all have many purposes. We don't just have one. But our shared purpose is that we're here on this planet to make a difference and help other people as well. And so if you put that purpose in front of you, that pulls you as well. Is that very accurate to
I
say
think that is accurate, and people helped me. So I think it's important for me to help others. And I can do that in a number of ways. And one of the ways I did it, I wrote a business development book to teach women lawyers how to develop clients and have control. Because if you are a lawyer in a law firm, if you don't have your own clients, you're just somebody who's working for somebody. And the name of my book is Power at the Table, because my view is a seat at the table is lovely, but if you don't have any power once you get there, you might as well have a chair in the corner.
Ooh.
And so...
Wait a minute, wait. You can't just go by that so quickly. Say that again.
Yes. A seat at the table is important, but unless you have power when you get there, might as well have a chair in the corner. So the name of my business book series is Power at the Table, because I had power at my table. I had my own clients. I had my own firm. But you don't get that unless you know how to do it, and nobody trains you. We don't train women to do it, but we really don't train anybody to do it. So the first book is for women lawyers. The one that's coming out in August is for all lawyers, and the one that will come out at the end of the year is for entrepreneurs. And really the advice is the same, but the slant is a little different in each one of them. But you can't do anything if you don't have power. And the way you get it is you got to do the work.
Beautiful. Give her a hand, ladies and gentlemen. Take this in. Thank you so much. Amazing. All right, what am I doing next? Help? They've thrown me out here to the wolves. All right.
You've got another.
Say again?
You got another panel.
I have another panel?
Somebody's got another panel. No, Alicia.
Alicia.
Yes.
There she comes, ladies and gentlemen.
She has the next panel.
Yes. Fantastic. Alicia, come on down. This is your. Ladies and gentlemen, give her a hand as she makes her way to the stage. It is the amazing Alicia.
Thank you so much, Joseph. We appreciate each and every one of you being here with us and taking the time on a Thursday evening to hear about people that are inspiring their community and showing up. It is such an honor and delight to introduce our next guest. His name is Randy Vons. Randy, please come up over here and join us. He is a PR extraordinaire. He works with clients to help them lock in amazing brand collaborations and sponsorships. He is a podcast host, and we're going to get into that because I know today was a very special day. You also have a nonprofit, and I think what's so beautiful, Randy, about the work that you do is you bring community together in the most beautiful, organic, unique, and fun ways. You represent so many talented artists across industries, but within entertainment that are really putting more positivity into the world. And so, Randy, I would love for you to talk about what originally inspired you to show up to Elevate and help refine and expand the way that the stories are told with the clients that you work with.
First off,
you gotta turn that one on. There you go. Let me help you. There you go.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing?
Hello. And hello everyone online.
So first off, thank you for having me. I'm super honored to be here. And a great question. I think for me, it started with me figuring out how to tell my story. I used to write about myself in the third person. So I would write to the news, like I figured out who my local news was, and I wrote about what I was doing and why I was doing it. And they were like, oh, I love your pitching game. I'm like, oh, good to know. I got something here. So my mindset became, if I could do this for little old me, and I'm just like a college student who's trying to raise money for school, that I can certainly do that for the different celebrities and these other who's who I know. So I started off as a journalist in a teen magazine. It was just an after-school program. I wasn't even technically in that area, but I was just like, I want to go get paid to meet celebrities and get to learn their stories. And I had no clue at 15 that me taking a bus across the city to this after-school program was going to shift my entire life. So it went from me being that young kid who was interviewing some of my favorite celebs to now some of those people have invited me 20 years later on their platforms. And just that storytelling, that hunger for storytelling I had at a young age is just now evolved and matriculated even more, and figuring out how that I can take that same heart I have as a creative and take the business acumen I've gained though, and now couple that and put that in partnership with other people who have great creative ideas that are doing great work, but maybe just need help amplifying it and getting it to the right people. So I happen to be that big mouth bullhorn who know the right people, and I know what to say and how to say it. So I've made a living off of exposing the underexposed and saying, hey, I know the followers may not be there yet. I understand that they may not be as known yet, but aren't you news? Isn't that your job to spread news, something new, entertaining people with something that they don't know already? And so really being able to hold people accountable, but like, hey, I'm not asking for a favor. I'm just asking you to do your job, and making a career out of advocating for others is ultimately what helped me become the storyteller that started empowering community. I wanted to go from achievements to impact. I'm like, I love what I've done and I'm grateful for that. But how can I impact others? And I saw that more people were impacted by just having a chance to come to my community game night than necessarily coming to cover a red carpet event. So taking the relationships I've built over the years and figuring out how to do it all together to just ultimately empower people.
I love that, Randy. And I think what's so beautiful about what you do is that you see the people for the people that they are, right? Like, I think it's easy to get caught up in how many followers does someone have and who knows about them, but who knows about them yet, right? You actually see the person for their craft, for the work that they're doing, and you believe in them early on, and you're their advocate and their coach. And I think if more people can really step up to see someone and not be so caught up in the metrics, so many people can just support and elevate each other. So I would love for you to kind of share about how you connect with the people that you work with. I mean, you work with Aaron Kingsley, who's a young, amazing actor, right? You work with Naomi Raines, who's a gospel singer and has her own record label in the gospel space. And you work with a lot of people that are innovators and disruptors. They're doing things differently. So for you, and would love for you to share with everyone that's here today, how do you actually come across the relationships that you build over time, and how do you then nurture them?
It's been a couple of things. One, I've always been curious and I've always been a fan. And I don't like to own the word fan anymore. I say I respect the work of a lot of artists. But just coming up, I was honestly a fan. So it's just always a matter of me either reaching out to give somebody their flowers or just interviewing them as a journalist. And they were just like, hey, like, can I call you later after the interview? I'm like, oh, sure, call me. Like, whatever. Thinking nothing of it. So those like calls after the interviews became like, hey, I'm actually not going to be working with my team anymore. Can you help make my name a household name? And I'm just a college student. Like, how do I do? Okay, some of my favorite celebrities want me to work for them. I'll figure it out. And I spent the last 16 years figuring it out and doing it in innovative ways because I didn't have.
Yeah, let's clap for that. Let's clap for that.
Yeah, I didn't have I didn't go to school for that. That wasn't what I was in school for. I was studying vocal performance and music business. So I had no plan on being the person who was going to be amplifying everybody else, but I just was good at it. And I always understood like, okay, hey, this person here is really dope. How do I help other people see how dope they are? I know what it's like to feel overlooked. And so like, how do I take somebody else and prevent them from being overlooked? So it really started with this thing of saying, I've walked in your shoes and I know what that's like. And I want to help you so you don't have to feel what I feel. So let me see what I can do with who I know and the connections I have. And so whether it's just a matter, perfect example, I had a game night about a month ago and I partnered with an actor from one of my favorite movies growing up. And he was doing something. So I intentionally invited a journalist there who I was hoping would be moved by his story and want to do it, a story on it without me having to pitch it. And literally it happened. By the time I had him go up and tell his story and show his trailer, she was like, hey, I want to tell this story. I'm like, that's exactly why I wanted you to experience this, but I didn't have to push it on you. I knew that if you got a chance to experience and hear it for yourself, I understand experiences. If you have an experience that impacts you, that resonates with you, you'll do my job for me. You'll naturally come looking for the thing that I'm looking to attract you to. So it's like understanding that has helped me shift significantly.
That's so great. And I think it goes back to holding space in an organic way. And it's so beautiful to see how creation can actually happen when you just hold space for people to shine brightly. You do so much with your clients that you work with, but I would be remiss if we don't talk about the nonprofit work that you do and how you show up in the community. Can you talk about how you actually got involved in nonprofit work and what it is that you really want people to know about how you connect with the community?
So I'm gonna go back a little bit to 2015, before mental health was a buzzword. I was working with a huge gospel artist at the time who was at the top of like the gospel industry, and the label wanted me to announce that she was nominated for her third consecutive Grammy. And I'm like, well, that's not really news because who's her competition? Like, of course she's nominated. It's not that she won; it's that she's nominated. That's not news. However, in the lyrics of the first song that she was releasing that she wrote, that wasn't a cover that somebody else wrote for her, she spoke about rejection and depression. And I'm like, Black people don't talk about rejection and depression in 2015 or mental health. And so I pitched that as a open letter to Essence magazine, and the story went viral. And so seeing like how free she felt, and other people in my feed who were sharing this story who felt like, wow, somebody else who I look at as thinking they have it all together, spoke about something very real that I deal with at home. Seeing that impact made me want to say, okay, how can I do that more? So my wellness brand became Greater Than, became that. It was just me doing what I needed for me. Me and my business partner, she's a background dancer, and she was the cover of Beyonce and Jay-Z's joint album, the Carter's Everything Is Love, I want to say it's called. And as people in the background, people will look at us and think, oh, y'all got it made, y'all like it's just as rich as the celebs that y'all work with. It's just like, no, we get a very small piece of that pie that Taraji was talking about, like we don't have it like that. So to be the advocate in the background and say, hey, this is what it's like, but you don't have to stop there. You can be greater than that. It became a matter of us inviting people to our own personal journey to be greater than, to practice physical, emotional, and mental wellness, and just bring people together. So I feel like I'm literally being myself for a living. My mom hosted gatherings and game nights coming up all the time. We weren't doing it for a nonprofit. We just, I think, growing up communally where I come from in Chicago, you just looked out for the neighborhood. And so I feel like I'm doing that, except my neighborhood is people in the industry and entertainment and people in LA who needs this more than they just need to go to another pool party. Like they love to let their hair down and come to these wellness events and be able to say, hey, I'm not okay today. I need to check in. I just needed a hug. And even that hug makes a difference for somebody who feels deprived from physical touch and hasn't been around family, but to be that person that they see that they familiar with in a safe space. They're like, I can hug and not be uncomfortable or weird, or me telling you that I'm not okay doesn't make you feel like you can take advantage of me. I know that you're going to give me a solution and not just help me have a pity party.
That's so key. And I have to say, the be greater than, even like the way it's be and then it's the greater than logo. And there is such a strong message in the name, which I know was very, very intentional. But the intentionality of you holding space to say, this is a place where you can be okay. This is a place where organic connections can happen. But this is also a place where we get to talk about what sometimes isn't necessarily talked about, particularly in the entertainment industry and just really in everyday life when people are just showing up, try to just show up and show face. But it's not like, how are you doing? Okay. But what is really behind that okay?
For me, I think so many times it's easy to run away from uncomfortable conversations. So I reframed it as courageous conversations. It's not easy, but let's have this courageous conversation so I don't have to be uncomfortable. And once we approach it like that, it becomes just a little bit easier, a little less challenging to say, you know what? Yeah, there's something here that needs to be dealt with. I don't want to just use words like triggered. Okay, I understand trigger, but how am I triggered? What did that make me feel? That made me feel sad. It made me feel betrayed. Let's deal with that. Because if I can understand like the vocabulary behind the emotions, then we can deal with the actions and get real solutions.
Yeah, that's so key there. And so you have Be Greater Than, but you also have a podcast.
Yes.
I know that the podcast has been years in the making in terms of what you have thought about the podcast, but you recorded a very special episode this very, very week. So I would love for you to talk about what has really been the catalyst behind your podcast and the conversations that you've been having, but you're looking to continue to expand upon.
So by this week, she means today.
Yes, today.
Literally today, we shot an episode
Earlier
with my
today.
co-host for the first time, and it was really cool because I started this 2.5 years ago. and everything just happened. I was like, okay, God, maybe not yet.
That's divine timing there.
Yes. But when it came to this podcast, it was a conversation that me and my best friend from high school, we were having conversations during the pandemic when we couldn't go anywhere. I would just walk around the block for a couple of hours and talk to him, and he was in Chicago talking to me, and I was learning things as men that I wish I had learned as a boy. Like, I wish we had these conversations sooner. And it was just like all these things, from suicide attempts to depression, that my best friend, who seemed like he was so emotionalist, like he just seemed like that manly man who had nothing bothered him. And I would just be like, man, I need to toughen up, because like I let everything get to me. Why is he so unbothered? And I learned he was very bothered, and he dealt with depression and all these other things. And it only came up as men because we were having conversations. And as kids, we couldn't have those conversations. And he was saying during the pandemic, he's like, all the yes men that were around me, they're gone. You're like a brother to me, because like you always kept it real with me even when it wasn't easy. So I was fortunate enough to hear somebody who got criticism from me in high school for saying, hey, I don't like the way you're doing some things or how you're handling some things. Come back and say, you were right. And I needed to hear that. And you're the reason that I'm now successfully married, and that my wife, I thought he was just blowing smoke up my behind, where he was just like, my wife's mom can't wait to meet you. I'm like, your wife's mom don't know me. And when I finally met her like 4 years later, she knew. She said, oh my God, I've been waiting to meet you. And it's just like, oh, you weren't joking. Like that impact really was real, and it's so easy to write that off. But with Mask Off, it was us taking our mask off and giving each other permission to say, hey, brother, take yours off too, and let's really talk, let's really breathe. In a time when we were literally hidden behind masks, you know? So it really became us taking our things off and leading by example, and now inviting others to the conversation. So it was really cool to bring it back to life today. I started with one of the stylists who got me into fashion, because guys, I didn't look like this a year ago, I promise you.
And I will tell you, Randy is fly. Okay, I encourage you to follow him on socials. He is fly everywhere he shows up.
But I've been intentional about working with Black designers. So the first designer who I worked with, I got to feature him on my podcast today and give him his flowers about, starting my trajectory here. And talking about it from a place that's not vain, but giving Black men in particular a chance to say, like we talked about earlier, I'm not okay, or this is how I feel. I had so many male friends around me who I looked up to, who are married and fathers and stuff. And I'm like, you living your best life. You always, working hard. They're like, yeah, I'm at work because my wife and kids are wearing me out, and so I'm picking up extra shifts. I'm like, oh, let's talk about that, because I didn't know that was your reality. I didn't know about things like men feeling like, oh, well, the kids are getting more attention than me now, and now my home's falling apart. Let's talk about that then. So have you told your wife that? Have you actually said that out loud? Or are you just now bringing this to the group chat? And I'm grateful that this feels like a safe space, but can you have that courageous conversation at home so that your wife maybe is aware, opposed to just assuming she don't know or don't care, So just Mask Off became that. If I can remove my mask and give other people permission to do the same, we ultimately all get better, because now that person at work who's been giving you a hard time has been taking our mask off at home. So now they're not giving you a hard time at work, which makes your job at work even easier, right?
Yeah, it certainly does. I mean, there's so many gems and insights that you're sharing here, but I feel like it's all going back to the theme of being courageous, having courageous conversations, being courageous and stepping on faith to say, I didn't study this, but I'm going to go find out a way to figure it out, and being courageous to have real, raw, authentic relationships with people. I mean, okay, Randy, there's so much more that we could get into, but we are here at the Barnes and Nobles at the Grove in Los Angeles. You have a new book that's going to be coming out. I would love for you to give us a sneak glimpse into what your book is going to be about. I don't want to say anything because I might say too much here. But I know that this has been something that's been so near and dear to your heart because it is part of your own life story. But you really want to share it to the world. So I would love for you to share a glimpse of your book and also speak about what the writing process has been like for you to share your story, because you're someone that constantly elevates and pours into others to share their stories. So how has that shift and transition been for you?
I had to remind myself that my narrative had been wrong for so long. I kept saying my first client was this person and that person. And I realized, like, no, again, at the beginning of this, I said I wrote about myself in the third person. So it's like I took off my mask before I asked anybody else to join me in taking off theirs. So this process was that. It's been therapeutic. It's reminded me of who I was. It's reminded me of what I've gone through. So the book, I won't give you the full title, but basically it's Confessions of a Church Boy. And it's like how I basically followed the word verbatim when I probably should have read between the lines sometimes. And so learning how to make the word a little more practical, how to humanize myself and not trying to just like be this perfect thing that I saw, or read about in the Word, because that wasn't relatable and people can resonate with that. So one of the chapters in particular is called "Truth Is I Rather Have Jesus and Silver and Gold," and I talk about financial literacy because that's something that we weren't taught. We talked about, money being a root of all evil, not money being a resources that help people, that creates pathways for people, that creates access, that, breaks barriers. And so this book really is like my practical way of saying, here's some of the things I wish I had applied a little more context and insight to, opposed to just repeating verbatim what I was taught and what I was read without proper interpretation.
Context is key here.
Very much so.
Reading between the lines and understanding that life is very nuanced, right?
Very nuanced.
And so I think that theme of courageous conversations is such a thread. It's one of the reasons why I admire you and the work that you do. And I have to say, you are a gift to the world, to the entertainment industry, but the way you actually hold space for people to grow, right?
Yeah.
To grow, to expand, to thrive, and you support them along their journey, I think is truly, truly special. And I'm just so excited to see all that you continue to do. So thank you so much for being here with us, Randy.
Thanks for having me so much.
Yeah, thank you. Please give Randy a beautiful round of applause. So for those of you that have tuned in with us here live at Barnes & Noble's at the Groove in Los Angeles, we appreciate you for being here at Books, Podcasts, and Entertainment to hear from so many phenomenal individuals. You just heard from Randy. We heard from Lefty Williams today, Joseph McClendon, Alicia Doss. There are so many people here. And I think it's a reminder that everyone has a story within. And it's sometimes not the what they do, but the why that they do it that really can inspire us and what we can see that is possible, but remind us that we're all human and we all go through experiences. For those that are joining us online, either live or watching the replay, we really appreciate you. To Barnes & Nobles, it's always a pleasure to be here with you at the Grove. We are going to come to the end of this program. If you are here with us today, we encourage you to make some connections and mingle. I saw a lot of phone numbers being exchanged here, which is something that's so wonderful about the Los Angeles Tribune community. If there is a book that you have read that has changed your life, I highly encourage you to visit latribunebestseller.com. We at the Los Angeles Tribune have a critically acclaimed bestseller experience where we recognize authors for the cultural impacts of their books, something that's a little bit different than what is being done out there. It's not based on the number of books that were sold. It's based on the cultural impact, the written clarity, and the structure. And so our bestseller experience is actually community nomination based. So if you read a book that has impacted your life, changed your life, inspired you to take action, or just to reflect on your life and reframe or have a courageous conversation with yourself or someone else, highly encourage you to visit latribunebestseller.com to nominate that book. So we are about to go to our close, and you are going to hear from the CEO of the Los Angeles Tribune, Mo Rock, and he is going to share some really inspirational words with you from his TED Talk. To Michael Silvers, to our Chief Operating Officer, Producer Rose, our Editor-in-Chief, Aviv Emanuel, Donna Campbell, the head of our LA Tribune Film Division, and the entire Los Angeles Tribune team. We appreciate you greatly, and we will see you soon. And now we are going to go to Mo's TED Talk. Until next time.
Imagine waking up in the morning, grabbing your morning coffee, and opening up your daily newspaper to nothing but headlines that inspire and uplift you. Headlines like the Apollo 11 moon landing and how it inspired people in the 60s, or headlines like the Berlin Wall has collapsed, or even more recently, headlines like the miracle on the Hudson. What would that do to your day when you started off with just positive news? My name is Mo Rock. I'm the CEO of a national newspaper brand, and today together, we are reimagining journalism. You see, studies reveal that there is a stark contrast between positive news and negative news. In fact, for every piece of news that is solutions-based, that can uplift and inspire you, there are at least 17 that don't. That's 17 to 1. So today, we are actually faced with an epidemic of negative news. We've all heard the phrase, if it bleeds, it leads. But why does this have to be the centerpiece of a lot of news production, journalism, and content creation of the world today? There are a lot of incredible journalists that are solutions-orientated, and I give a lot of credit to them for doing a great job. And here's the truth that you may not realize, is that everyone in this room is impacting our news. You see, every single time you like a post, every single time you leave a comment on a news article, and every single time you share something, you're not just liking, commenting, and resharing. You're actually casting a vote. You're not only casting a vote for the kind of news you want to consume, but believe it or not, you're casting a vote for the kind of world you want to live in. You see, I believe that news has the power to not just inform you, but it has the power to mold you. Our world views are largely shaped based on the news and content that we consume. And so I want to encourage folks to remember that the next time that they like, comment, and share. Our organization has one question that it always has to ask before we share anything, print anything, or publish anything. Our editorial team asks this one very simple question. Does the following piece of news empower our audience, or does it disempower our audience? What would the world look like if every content creator, every journalist, every time someone posted a news article, they asked that question? Does the following piece of content empower our audience or disempower our audience? And I want to encourage everyone to participate in this process and help us bridge that gap between 17 negative news articles for every one positive. And let's come together and ultimately make this world a better place. Thank you.